This is YSM Sports Media. Want to thank you for all your love and support. Really appreciate it. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now and click the notification button for all future content.
Alex Barbosa. What's good, Alex?
Hi, what's up, man?
There you go. What you got going on today?
Another day in paradise, trying to operate with our 25% capacity restrictions here in the wonderful state of New Jersey. And, we got the pros in here training right now. I've spaced everything out with our schedule so that they basically have the floor for this time. I mean, my members are still allowed to come in. My members are still allowed to come in and work out and do their own thing. But for the most part, no classes, no nothing going on while the pros are in here training. So we have classes in the early morning, classes again in the afternoon, nothing in the middle of the day. Let the pros have the floor.
Okay. Basically, with this whole process, you just have to make some small adjustments.
Big adjustments. We had to reconfigure everything, change the programming schedule altogether, limit the amount of people that are allowed in here at any given point. I have 6,000 square feet, so we try to promote as much social distancing as we can in our classes. With 15 people in a class at most, social distancing really isn't that hard with 6,000 square feet. But, every so often we run into a hiccup or whatever, but it's not an issue at all.
Is that the reasoning for taking away the octagon?
Well, the octagon, it provides it. Okay. The octagon is great for professional mixed martial artists, guys that have like fights and all that coming up. And although we have a slew of mixed martial artists that train here, that come here, from everything that I was told, they weren't utilizing it to the same capacity. Whereas with this space, we gain a little bit more space, and it opens it up, makes the club look a little cleaner. And to be honest with you, I think we're gonna get more use out of this mat area than the octagon that we had in the past. I mean, only time will tell, but I think we're gonna better utilize the space.
So we had a conversation probably a couple days ago. Danny Garcia, Errol Spence. What was your reaction to that?
I was obviously, look, I'm a homer, so I always cheer for the guys that I know. So I was, I wanted Danny to win. DraftKings, I wanted Danny to win. That being said, I wasn't entirely too surprised. It's almost like what was it, Porter, when Porter said, "Give me after the first round," and to make a decision. After that first round, you could kind of get an idea of what was gonna be happening. When you're trying to, my father would tell me all the time that you can't outbox a boxer. And it seemed like Danny was trying to counterpunch, but you're trying to counterpunch with a boxer. So it seemed like the game plan may have been a little flawed. I don't necessarily know. I wasn't in the camp. But it seemed like all the instructions that he was receiving in the corner, it was more emotional, less actual guidance. Like, hey, look, we're losing, or you got to turn it up, or stuff like that, versus, hey, look, why don't you try to slip a punch or get your foot on the outside of the southpaw, like some kind of actual instruction. But again, I mean, you're fighting one of the top guys in the world, so there's no that's not a knock on Danny. It's just that's an elite guy. Errol Spence is what we thought he was. People claim that Errol Spence is the number one guy in the world for the longest time, and he didn't look like the number one guy and a welterweight on Saturday, but he looked good. In my opinion, he won the fight.
Could you tell that there was some rust and some little bit of layover from the accident?
Could I tell?
Yeah.
No, hindsight is 20/20, so everyone's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, he can." You could tell the rust and all that. But honestly, he looks sharp, and with Danny, you have to respect the fact that the man can punch. So Errol wasn't just gonna walk into one of Danny's hooks or punches, or So I thought it was a smart fight. It was a smart tactical fight by Errol Spence, and the adjustments weren't made enough for Danny to win. That's all.
That's the thing that impressed me the most. He took away the left hook. Like, I noticed he changed his hand placement, and he just nullified
it up nice and high.
Yeah.
Right? That shit was up here.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, well, I'm going to eat this hook. And he was ready for it, So he basically dared Danny to beat him with something else. You're going to have to beat him with something more than that no-look left hook. And then he couldn't do it. That's all. But it's not. I don't think it's a referendum on Danny Garcia in any capacity. I think Danny's still an elite welterweight. But unfortunately, the business of boxing isn't very. The business of boxing can be a real pain in the ass sometimes, and I'm very curious to see what direction they go with Danny. I think a fight like Pacquiao would probably be his best bet, but everybody wants Pacquiao. So I don't have the slightest idea what way PBC is going to go with it. Obviously, they can take it a variety of different ways, and I'm sure he'll take a little bit of time and, and retool, refocus, and get it back. But I'm curious to see where they go with it.
Now, this Saturday, heavyweight division, Anthony Joshua is facing Kubrat Pulev. Are you familiar with Pulev?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. How do you see that fight going?
I think Anthony Joshua, he's smart. He's just gonna box his way to a victory. Box his way. Just use that stick and box. When Anthony Joshua tries to reinvent the wheel, stand and bang with guys, whether they're limited skills or not, it's just not what he does. I think that they need him to clearly and decisively take care of Pulev, especially, you're talking about a super fight with Tyson Fury in the UK. He's got to look good. Any kind of hiccup or anything, you're talking about millions of dollars here on the line. So, I expect Anthony Joshua to look at his absolute best on Saturday night. Or Saturday, I think in the middle of the day here for us.
Yeah, it's middle of the day.
Saturday night there.
Do you feel like Pulev is a legitimate threat? Because I've only seen him fight like once or twice. I'm not really familiar with his career.
He is, because he's a puncher. And any puncher in the heavyweight division is, you get up that high, you're obviously some semblance of a threat. He's not a walk in the park because Anthony Joshua is done with the layups. They're not going to give him a layup at all. But on paper, Joshua should walk through this guy. Like on paper, but the fights aren't on paper, and 2020 has been super weird. So who knows? Maybe this is the close your eyes, throw a hook, and down goes Joshua to get up and have the toughest fight. It could turn into a Fury Otto Wallen kind of fight where a cut happens or something, and now it's just you never really know. And especially in the heavyweight division, when all it really takes is one. They're really the masters of the one punch, the home run hit. Everything can change with one punch. If ever there's a division where everything can change with one punch, it's the heavyweights.
Thanks, Alex. Talk to you.
Oh, my pleasure.